Next in radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz, and it's time for another Triple Lutz report. The date is June 7th, 2016, and the show is brought to you by Birch Gold. When it comes to picking your bullion dealer, the most important thing is not price, it's integrity. Can you trust your bullion dealer? And in the case of Birch Gold, of which I am a customer, the answer is resoundingly yes. So go to birchgold.com, BIRCHGOLD.com. Their rating from the BBB, Better Business Bureau, A+. Business Consumer Alliance, AAA. TrustLink, another organization that rates 5 stars, and they're D&B rated. So they're experts in precious metals IRAs, and I think you'll like their site. You can call a specialist over there now, speak to them. They're extremely courteous. They know how to treat their clients. 800-355-2116. That's the number. 800-355-2116. Tell them Kerry sent you and give me feedback. Let me know how your experience was with them, because it's really important to us to know that our sponsors, our partners are treating you right. I think I do my due diligence and I make sure that everything about our sponsors is vetted and kosher. And we like people like Birch who have perfect, unblemished records when dealing with the public. So important. Also, we are brought to you by Liberty Health Share. JoinLHS.com, joinLHS.com. I've had my first claim being put in with them for a procedure I'm doing on my drooping eyelids. It's a plastic surgery procedure. If I wanted to get my regular insurance company to pay for this, they put you through the ringer because they say, oh, you're just trying to look beautiful again. Not so with Liberty Health Share. I mean, I just went to joinLHS.com. I was signed up over a year ago. They're paying for most of it. There's a deductible. Put it on my credit card. Done. I'm going in on the 16th. It's minor, nothing procedure. But, you know, the definition of minor surgery, surgery that other people have. Surgery that you have, that I have, that's major surgery, regardless if it's removing a splinter or something far more serious. But on a serious note, my experiences with Liberty Health Share, nothing but positive. JoinLHS.com, JoinLHS.com. There's also a phone number on that site you can call for more info, but this really works. They just passed 60,000 members around the country, and it's a different way of handling your healthcare expenditures. They are a healthcare cost-sharing ministry, but no, you don't have to pass a religious litmus test to be part of them. And finally, Jason Hartman, jasonhartman.com. He's been a sponsor of the show almost since the beginning, and I've met probably several hundred of his investors, of his clients. What he's done is amazing because he's made buying a single family home viable as an investment. He's got it down to a system. It's really fabulous. I've met people that have owned 80, 90 of his of properties purchased through him. Somebody, he told me, owned a couple hundred single family homes. So go over to jasonhartman.com. Great sponsor. We've been on his show. He's been on mine numerous times, and a man of integrity. No lawsuits with him. Nothing. No investors have ever turned the tables on him. So on to the next thing. I'm going to make this really brief here, but pretty much what we've seen. People are stressed out in this country. And I had this run-in with a guy in Starbucks, me and my group of guys. They're mostly in their late 60s and 70s. I'm the young whippersnapper of the bunch. Guy backs up his monster truck right where we're sitting, leaves it running. It's idling and putting out fumes, and it's noisy and really irritating. And one of the members of the group asked him to turn off the truck. And this guy proceeded to lose it, cursing, screaming, threatening, saying, people, this is what happens. This is how people get shot who don't mind their own business. I mean, he was really a scary character, and we should have called the cops on him right away. We didn't. He left. Nothing further happened. But I discussed this with George Mathias, who's our resident security self-defense expert. His advice was really sound. Don't confront anybody about anything, because you never know what's going to push somebody over the edge. If it's a law enforcement matter, immediately call the cops. Don't try self-help, okay? Because you'll be in a situation that you're not trained to be in, and somebody could get hurt. So please, just learn from this mistake. Go over to George Mathias's site, moderncombativesystems.net. He's got a lot of common sense advice about this stuff, but it's crazy out there. And that's what you need to keep in mind. Don't go out of your way to get people angry, because it can get out of hand rapidly. Who needs that? Somebody gets hurt. Hey, so you were in the right, but you're you're buried. So, hey, you heard about the referendum in Switzerland that was roundly defeated. And what it was there was a plan proposed. There's only 8 million people in Switzerland, but each person would receive 2,500 Swiss francs per month, enough to cover their basic needs. And it was argued that basic income would free people from meaningless toil and allow them to pursue more productive, creative goals in their life. Hey, there's nothing more creative than the things that you come up with to survive and thrive in the new economy. This was defeated by about 78 to 22. So free lunches are great, but there is no free lunch. Fortunately, the Swiss have realized this and voted accordingly. Just doesn't work, because when you give people a disincentive to work, they don't work. I mean, it's really, really that simple. So keep that in mind the next time you hear about them trying to expand a program, or government taking over, creating a new program. So interesting thing, China, they do everything right. America does nothing right. And what's really funny here is, well, it's not really funny, but it's funny in a sick kind of way. 700 people a day die in China on their highways. And that's like over 260,000 deaths on the mainland each year, of which 60% are vulnerable road users, such as pedestrians, cyclists, and motorcyclists. And they're starting a campaign for better road safety. And it's starting to pay dividends, but it still has a long way to go. Electric bikes in urban areas in China for courier delivering has become a new concern for road safety with the development of e-business. I'm presently in the process of shopping for an electric bike. There's hundreds of different brands. A lot of the components are made in China. A number of brands that are sold here are made in China, but there's a lot of American designs on the cutting edge. And it's really cool. These electric bikes will take you 20 miles an hour, and their range will be anywhere from 20 to 50, and some of them even have larger range than that. 2 types of ways to power it. 3, actually. 1, pedal alone. 2, pedal assist. When you start pedaling, the motor kicks in, so you can get up to 24 miles an hour, 30 on some of them, and then just throttle like a regular scooter. The electric motor will power you at roughly 20 miles per hour. Makes going up hills really easy when you have the wind at your chest. That can really slow you down on a regular bike. I love bike riding. I ride 50 miles a week, sometimes during cooler times. But in Florida, we're up to the point where it's 90 degrees every day with 90% humidity. To exert all that effort, pumping and pedaling, I just can't do it. Heat exhaustion sets in, heat stroke. It could be very, very, very dangerous. So keep that in mind. Electric bikes, they're a problem in China, but they're emerging country. They've got this incredible highway system now that's the same size as the interstate highway system in the United States. They actually designed their system on the interstate highway system using the same colored signs, the red, white, and blue interstate signs, the green signs, because we didn't just pick the colors for those signs. They were figured out over time, and their highways are very similar to ours. One thing they've done, which is really good, is they've made the right lane wider. So for trucks and for cars, makes the highway much safer. But forget it. They're like, you don't want to drive there. It is dangerous. Having been there 20 years ago, it was dangerous then. I would never think of driving myself, even with GPS. But that's where we're at. So another story that I think you'll find interesting, U.S. has been an importer of crude oil for years and years and years, since I've been alive. But now the U.S. is exporting 591,000 barrels per day. That was as of April, and that's a 96-year high. If you just call that $50 a barrel, which is a little too high, you're looking at $3 million a day. So it's $1 billion export market already. That's only going to go up. Who do we export to? Canada, 90,000 a day, or 324,000 a day went to Canada. 90,000 went to Curacao, where they have large refineries. So no doubt they're going to crack that and turn it into gasoline and probably ship it back to the U.S. 36,000 went to the Bahamas. And this is just the beginning. The U.S. will be exporting several million barrels a day, especially when prices go back up, which according to Charles Nenner and company, that is what they are going to do. So we have some interesting world trade markets ahead. As usual, we get in there too late to the party. We should have been doing this 6-8 years ago when it was $100 a barrel, but better late than never. The whole ban on exporting U.S. petroleum started with the Alaskan pipeline when there was a glut of oil and we exported the oil to Japan, and everyone freaked out about that. Really funny. And here we are 30 years later. We're exporting again and becoming a major exporter in the process. It'll be several million barrels a day, especially if U.S. growth doesn't pick up, which probably not going to. So Bitcoin is now trading at $579.63 per Bitcoin. That is up from a low of around 187.88 and probably going to go higher. The Chinese are behind it. We're going to have Trace Mayer on to explain to us what is going on with Bitcoin, why you perhaps should be buying it. I'd be cautious. You never know what's going to happen. But, you got to love liberals, progressives. How many out there of you think that Hugo Chavez's Venezuela was an economic miracle? Well, at Salon, they have very difficult problems separating fact from reality. This guy, David Sirota, wrote an article back in March, and, he just thinks this guy was just amazing. He just did a few things wrong, and that's why Venezuela is at the point of imploding right now. And he's saying the extreme poverty rate as a result of Chavez fell from 23.4% to 8.5% just a decade later. The country with the third lowest poverty rate in Latin America. I don't know what this guy is smoking. They don't have toilet paper. So yeah, if everybody's broke and you have $1 in your pocket, then you're rich. I mean, he is insane. He does confess that they had a troubling record when it came to protecting human rights and basic democratic freedoms, but they've always had that little problem there in Venezuela. There was a boom in violent crime and a lot of serious problems that have led to the collapse that it's seeing now. When you can't buy toilet paper, food, everything else. This was a developed country. It was the wealthiest country in Latin America, one of the wealthiest for many years, much wealthier than Colombia. And now it is poverty stricken, and they probably have a shortage of oil. I mean, they've been having hyperinflation, really insane. The things that have been done there, horrible and all avoidable. But this is what socialism always results in. Eventually you run out of other people's money. And that's what has happened in Venezuela. So nice people from Venezuela, a lot of them here in Florida, in South Florida. Good people, bright people, all well-educated, really great people. It's a shame that they run out of opportunities in their own country. So automation and the minimum wage and robotization. So former McDonald's CEO, he was Ed Renzi. He was there for a long time. Company did incredibly well under him. He warned that replacing workers with robots is far less costly than hiring new employees at $15 an hour. So this has become a rallying cry to remedy income inequality. And they think that you can just dictate what people are worth and it's going to make a difference. But Renzi noted it's cheaper for many businesses to purchase a $35,000 robot instead of hiring a new employee at $15 an hour. He says if you look at the robotic devices that are coming into the restaurant industry, it's cheaper to buy a $35,000 robotic arm than it is to hire an employee who's inefficient, making $15 an hour bagging fries. And he says it's nonsense and is very destructive. It's inflationary. It's going to cause job loss across this country like you're not going to believe. We know every time they raise the minimum wage, minority unemployment among youths goes up. Now, in New York, the true minimum wage, what I would call the natural minimum wage in New York City, was always much higher than the federal minimum wage. Way back when, I was paying messengers anywhere from $10 to $12 an hour if they were experienced to deliver packages to attorneys. And yet, now $15 probably won't have that big an effect in Manhattan. It will have some, but the outlying areas upstate, that is where the hit is really going to be felt. So something to keep in mind because it's happening. And he said, I think we ought to have a multifaceted wage program in this country. If you're a high school kid, you ought to have a student wage. Entry-level worker, you ought to have a separate wage. And the states should manage this because they know more about what's going on than anybody in D.C. Always give the example. The minimum wage here in Palm Beach County, in Palm Beach, wealthiest little piece of dirt, one of the wealthiest pieces in the world, that minimum wage is going to be higher than in Belle Glade, where the median income is $22,000, or maybe it's the mean average income, $22,000 a year, and it's all agricultural. It's just silliness. You can't legislate people to be wealthier. It just can't be done. I wish it could. Hey, so here's the thing. Do you suffer from low battery anxiety? 90% of us, according to the Daily Mail .co UK, panic about losing power on our phones. And 32% of you will drop everything to head home and charge phones. 17% of males missed match on a dating app because the phone died. 60% have blamed a dead phone for not speaking to a loved one. I mean, I definitely do. When my phone gets below 50%, it really bothers the heck out of me. And I think this is a flaw of smartphones, both Google, Android, and Apple iPhones. More so the iPhones are just battery hogs. And I always say the key to effective smartphone use is ABC. Always be charging. And Sony supposedly is working on a lithium sulfur battery and a magnesium sulfur battery that they say will be able to carry 40% more energy. Fuel cells, they're working on them. I just bought a backup battery. It's 50,000 milliamps and will charge 2 iPads and 3 or 4 iPhones before it runs out. Supposedly. It was $20 on eBay. So that's how I'm dealing with my anxiety. Every time I get in the car, I plug the thing in. I'm always charging. That's really the key to avoiding low battery anxiety, because otherwise, forget it. So point you to an article in city-journal.org, part of the Manhattan Institute, which is a great organization. They do amazing work on free market solutions in government. But California's water shortage, okay? Most of their water in the couple of rivers feed into the ocean and totally get wasted because they're trying to protect salmon in these rivers and the Delta smelt, which probably is already extinct. And basically, if they used that water, there would have been no shortage here. And there's a federal lawsuit with some crazy progressive judge that controls the water system in California. And he allows basically water to come out on his schedule. And the farmers get killed. The water saving measures that were taken, the draconian ones with tickets, fines, all that, totally unnecessary. But this is the government that you and I live under. So let's get a little smart about this stuff. And let's just get the water, all right? Figure out a way to reroute the salmon or whatever you have to do, but just let's end the madness. So that's it for today. By the way, you got any questions, write me at kl@kerrylutz.com, kl@kerrylutz.com. subscribe to us on iTunes. Easiest way to get the show. If you have the iTunes program, either on a Mac or a PC-based computer, just load up iTunes, go to the iTunes store, search on Kerry, Lutz, or Financial Survival Network, and then comes up, click subscribe. Program will automatically deliver our shows to you whenever they're posted, so you don't have to be looking around for them, whatever. They'll just come to you. I subscribe to numerous podcasts that way. Highly recommend it. Check out our sponsors. We're talking Birch Gold, www.birchgold.com, jasonhartman.com, jasonhartman.com, joinlhs.com, as in Liberty Health Share. Tell them all that you found out about them here, because we love to have great sponsors. We vet them as best we can, and what better way to vet a sponsor than to use them yourself, like I've done in the case of Birch Gold and Liberty Health Share. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. This has been another Triple Lutz Report. Kerry Lutz signing off.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.